Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello-y. My name is Loey, and I am back with you guys today for another look into glitch in the Matrix TikToks. I was going to say that I feel like I just did one of these videos, but it was definitely months and months ago. I just feel like the summer completely flew by. Like, how are we so close to the year 2025? That doesn't even sound real. Anyways, hopefully you guys didn't mind the wait because today I have 23 Glitch in the Matrix TikToks to share with you. And every single one of these is one that has made me question reality just a tiny bit. Also, a friendly reminder, you guys, my merch is still up on the Merch Labs website, and you guys can get amazing pieces like the Loey lockup merch. We have thick thigh spooky vibes. We even have another rendition of Live Laugh LoeyLane. Sizes extra small to 5XL, and I think it will be available for most of September, but I don't want you to miss out. So yeah, I will have a link for you down below. I'll keep reminding you guys, don't worry. Thank you guys as always for your support because I can't believe that I'm a YouTuber who gets merch. I don't know. I've been doing this for over a decade, and sometimes when I get to do things like this, it just feels so surreal. So thank you. So the first video I want to show you is a video that has been on my mind on a pretty much daily basis since the minute that I saw it, which is kind of funny because a minute's worth of time is what makes this video so horrifying. This poster had a crazy time glitch that I just can't explain. So our poster, the librarian, she works at a Barnes and Noble, and she's just working earlier on this day when she sees one of her coworkers walking out, and she's like, "Are you heading out for the day?" And the coworker says yes. And our poster looks down at her analog watch. Remember this, it's an analog watch on her wrist. And it says that it is 1:58 and she's clocking out at 2. So she tells her coworker, "I'm clocking out in 2 minutes." And that's where this glitch in the Matrix begins.
So then I went to go clock out and a customer stopped me. And they were like, "Can you help me?" So I was like, "Yeah, blah, blah, blah. What are you looking for?" So then I walked all the way to the back to the kids section, from the front of the store to the back. After talking to a customer, after talking to my coworker and giving her a hug. So I go to like type in what the customer is looking for. Sorry, you guys, I'm like really freaked out. I went to type in what the customer was looking for, and I looked at my clock because I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be off." It was still 1:58. It was still 1:58.
So she's gonna talk about more like why this is so crazy, but I just want you to remember, she looks down at her watch, realizes it's 1:58. She walks like back and forth in the store, talks to a customer, does all of this stuff, goes to the computer, and it says 1:58. And my first thought was maybe your watch was slow, whatever, but she looks down at her watch and it's still 1:58.
So I was so deeply unsettled. I was like, no. And I was like, did my watch stop? Did my watch stop? So then I looked on the computer terminal and it said 1:58 too. So I remember saying out loud, I was like, this is weird. This is really weird. So then I kept staring at my watch. And then a lady came over to me, she talked to me, and I typed something else in. And then I looked at my watch again and it finally said 1:59. You guys, my internal clock is pretty good. I know more than 1 minute passed for me to do all of that. There's no way that it remained 1:58 to 1:58, and then I sat there looking at my clock and it was still 1:58. Y'all, there's no way. Like, did time stop? Did anybody else experience something like this around this time? It takes me about a minute to walk from the front to the back in a meandering style, let alone talk to a customer, talk to a coworker, and look something up and walk. It was 1:58 for like 2 to 3 minutes. That's what I'm saying to you guys. It was 1:58 for like 2 to 3 minutes when it should not have been 1:58. Anyways, y'all, I am not okay because that was weird. By the way, it's a digital watch. It's not analog. The computer terminal said the same thing.
I'm sorry, but when you work retail, I feel like you just know every single minute that passes by. And this poster in particular, the reason this story is so fascinating to me is that she seems so genuinely rattled by it. Look, could she have maybe misread her watch? I guess so. That would pretty much be the only logical explanation here if she's positive that all of these things took more than a minute, which it just, again, sounds like logically it would, but I don't know. I don't know. She seems so freaked out by it, and I think that freaks me out more. This isn't the kind of content that this poster makes, like, at all, by the way. So I really want to know what you guys think. Did she experience a time glitch where time just stood still for a full minute? Or was this something else? And if it was something else, what was it? The next video comes from Professional Chitchatter, who was just getting ready one day when suddenly her earring fell out. But when she picked the earring up, the back was still on it.
The way I'm in the middle of doing my makeup right now, and my earring just dropped into my makeup bag that's literally been attached to my ear for like 30-40 minutes, and it fell into my makeup bag, and I was like, that's where my earring fell out. I wonder if the back's not on it. And I pick it up and it literally looks just like this. Like, and that one's on, and this one was on too. This is the first one I put on. Glitch in the Matrix, bro. I wish I would have been recording.
Some people in the comments, because I posted about this TikTok on TikTok, some people were saying maybe her ears were torn, like her actual earlobes were torn or something. I just think she would have realized, like, that could not have been the first time that happened if her ears were torn. Also, some other people saying that maybe she didn't actually get it on the ear, like maybe she clipped it in her hair or something. I don't know. Again, kind of similar to our last poster, I just feel like when people seem genuinely rattled over something, like when they believe they've genuinely had a glitch in the Matrix, it just always kind of makes me look a little bit harder. And with this one, it's creepy. I don't know. I probably would have had the same reaction. Like, don't get me wrong. I've definitely like looped a necklace around my neck and it fell off later because I didn't actually get the necklace like through the little clasp thing. But this is different. This is like an earring. I don't know. I'll stop harping on this one, but it did creep me out. The next TikTok comes from the user catsupwithdoug, and this is fascinating to me. So this poster was visiting a little town called Bluff, Utah. And he's not exactly familiar with this area, but he likened it at the end of this video to a town that had not yet been rendered, that someone running his simulation really quickly tossed together, and things weren't quite running smoothly.
Necessarily believe we live in a simulation, but after visiting Bluff, Utah, I can't rule it out as a possibility. We got to the hotel. It was a portable building. Like when your elementary school got too small for all the kids in it and they put extra buildings out back for the teachers they didn't like, that was our hotel room. But that doesn't prove anything. It didn't even make me start thinking weird. But it's what the front desk lady said that everyone else in town said to me too that got me wondering. We went to the little market and we got variety of things, candy bars, some stuff to make sandwiches, drinks, bread. We got back to the room, we noticed everything had expired 2 weeks earlier. And those things don't have the same shelf life, like bread and Coca-Cola and a candy bar all expiring 2 weeks earlier at the same time. And when we tried to check out, the lady at the counter said the same phrase that the hotel clerk said. Went to the one restaurant we found in town, and the waitress, we'd ask her questions like, hey, can we get pickles with that sandwich? She would say, I don't know. It's my first day working here. We went to the cashier. I asked her if I could add a tip onto the bill. She said, I don't know. It's my first day working here. I tried to check out with all my expired food at the market. The credit card didn't work. And the lady's like, I don't know what's going on. It's my first day working here. The front desk lady at the portable building of a hotel took over an hour to find our reservation because she didn't know how to work the computer, because it was her first day working there. I'm just saying, if we are living in a simulation, I think no one had traveled to Bluff, Utah in a few years and it hadn't been rendered in a while. When they saw me coming, they just rendered it real fast and nothing quite worked.
I looked it up, and in 2022, Bluff, Utah had a population of 243 people. So could this have been like an elaborate prank maybe on somebody who very clearly was like an out-of-towner. Yeah, but it also is just weird, like the food all expiring on the exact same day. Like this poster said, like Coca-Cola and like other things that are not as shelf stable as a Coca-Cola would be. The other thing is too, if this is legitimate, if all of these people just started working in Bluff, Utah, that place is seeing crazy economic growth. I mean, comparatively to 243 people that live there. Yeah, just really interesting. Again, could be a prank, I guess, by the people in town on this guy, but it doesn't explain everything. So the next two videos come from a user named SweetfaceJ86, who captioned this, "I just experienced an actual glitch in the Matrix."
Guys, we are in a simulation and I just got proof. And I don't usually do videos like this, but I literally just got proof. I can't even talk. This just happened right now and I'm gonna show you proof.
This poster has Ring camera footage of her glitch in the Matrix, so stay tuned until the end. Our poster woke up this morning feeling particularly exhausted. She goes to her morning workout, she literally comes home, she goes back to sleep. She's like, why did I get so tired? Like, what has exhausted me like this? And she realizes she had started a new anxiety medication and taken it at like 9 p.m. the night before. And so she's like, okay, I probably need to take this earlier on in the evening so I get a better night's sleep, a fuller night's sleep, and I don't wake up feeling so exhausted. And wouldn't you know it, she uses her phone to set an alarm for herself for 7 p.m. every single day so that she can take her medication on time. However, when she sets the alarm, her phone does something really weird.
Guys, I'm gonna show you proof of this. So I'm sitting here eating breakfast, watching videos, right? And I go, hey, you know her name? I go, set a daily alarm for 7 p.m. That's all I say, right? She comes back and says to me, and I'm gonna show you the proof. She says, a 7 p.m. alarm for your anxiety pill has been set. I didn't say what the alarm was for. I didn't even say it out loud. This was all an internal dialogue that I was having. No one is here. I'm going to freaking show you, because the thing came up at the top. Look. So like I said, I was watching videos. So I was watching this lady's video about, you know, the gossip, whatever. And look at what it says. Look at that. Now, look at how, and one can say, oh, you Photoshop that. Watch this. So this photo, for some reason, I had to crop it because when it's big, you can't see the top. But watch this. Look at the Siri bubble right here. Because she had just spoke it to me.
Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Set a daily alarm for 7 p.m.
I turned on your anxiety pill PM alarm at 7 p.m. starting today.
Stomach Girl, Tronics, Red Rum Beef. I got it all, y'all. I don't want you read and watched and everything else.
Now this video really creeps me out. Not even so much for the glitch in the Matrix part of it, which she experiences a second glitch in the Matrix that she posted about after this video, so I definitely think something's going on for her. But the reason this freaks me out so bad is like, is your phone just tapped in? Does her phone just somehow know that she started this new anxiety medication because of emails and, I don't know, like bank statements and whatever, and just knew to set this alarm for this anxiety medication? She responded to so many people's comments giving her rational explanations for this. And every single time she's like, you don't understand. I didn't have this alarm set before. I just started taking this medication. Like, this is weird. This is not like an explainable thing. And I believe her. Like, again, when people have conviction about these kinds of things, when they just know, I tend to get locked in. Call me a sucker. But with this one, I don't know. She just doesn't make content like this really. It's just really out of the norm. So that happens. So she's responding to people after she posts this video earlier in the day. And while she's doing this, she's just hanging out in her house and she has another glitch in the Matrix.
At this point, you guys are gonna think that I am doing this for attention. You're gonna think that I'm doing this to go viral. But I promise you that is not the case. I swear that this is not, like, if I had not caught what I'm about to show you again on camera, you would think she's bullshit. just like the previous video.
She's making her videos in response to people's comments about this glitch in the Matrix she had, when suddenly she hears a fly buzz past, and she has ring camera footage of this as well. And she explains she hates flies, so she always has a fly swatter on hand. I actually completely relate to this. I invested in an electric fly swatter, and it's one of the best purchases I've ever made, except I've lost the charger like 4 times, and it's entirely useless when it's not charged. Anyway, the poster explains that everything in her home has a place. She very clearly is like a very neat, organized person. She knows exactly where her fly swatter should be. But when she gets up, it's not there.
There is something going on. There's a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know what's today's date, the 16th or the 17th. I don't know what this date has to do with anything, but something is going on. This is not my typical content. I don't talk about conspiracy theories. I don't talk about Matrix. That's not my thing. That's not my zhuzh. So I keep a fly swatter right through the kitchen, right behind that, wait, I can't do it, that wall, right? You're gonna watch me get up to go get it. Now, there should be no reason that that fly swatter is not there. I clean up my house every night, every day. It's just where it goes. I make sure everything is in its place. And as you can see, my house is nice and quiet. There's a little bit of a mess on the kitchen table because of the mail and whatever, okay? I go to get the fly swatter. Notice that it's not there. I was just about to go into my bedroom because I'm like, where else would it be? Did I try to swat a fly last night in my room? Which I know I did not, because I would not go to bed without, anyways. And it on the corner of my eye, right there, I see the fly swatter. Mind you, I had just been sitting right there, and it was not there. I know what the fuck is real. Like that motherfucker there, that was not real. Okay, bye.
Where's that fly? Hate flies, bro. I hate flies. It's my fly swatter. You caught that on camera. Shit. Anyways.
Look, in like the kind of chaos of the morning, could this have just slipped out of the corner of her eye? Maybe. I lost my vacuum cleaner for literally like an entire week because I was so used to it being in this spot in my bedroom, like blending into all of these other things. I just couldn't find it for literally a week. I don't think that's that abnormal. And it was literally in my bedroom. Like I surely walked by it like 15 times every single day while searching for my vacuum. But this one, like the fly swatter looks pink. Again, this is like an item that she clearly uses on a regular basis as well. And if she had realized it was right there, she just obviously would have used it when she saw the fly. So I don't know about these stories. Do you think it was a glitch in the Matrix? Do you think we just have some weird things going on with technology and the fly swatter thing was just a coincidence? I think for this poster, her simulation was kind of just glitching out a little bit, but let me know what you guys think. We have a TikTok from Margot Ross who put out a request for Glitch in the Matrix stories. And of course, she paid her toll. She went ahead and she gave us a Glitch in the Matrix story of her own. This story comes from this poster's mother and her experience with what almost seems like a timeline glitch, but with tangible proof that was left behind from the experience.
I want to hear all of your Glitch in the Matrix, unexplainable, weird stories because they are fascinating to me. And we can make this a series. This can be episode 1 because I have plenty of them. This one's my mom's. She was driving from Atlanta to North Carolina. It's the middle of the night. She's on the phone with my grandma, and my grandma is helping her over maps, Google Maps, because my mom was running out of gas and she was panicking a little bit because she was in the middle of nowhere, okay? Finally, over the hill, she sees a lit up, beautiful gas station. So she pulls in, she pumps her gas, uses her card, and then she goes to walk in to pee before she leaves. So she's walking towards the door, and as she gets to the door, her mom called her and goes, "You ran out of gas, didn't you?" And my mom's like, no, I'm at a gas station. Is my car, do you not see it? She said, no, your car's like parked in the middle of nowhere. Where are you? And she said, I'm at a gas station. And as she's saying that, she goes to pull the door and it's locked. And she looks up and there's a close sign. And she was like, oh, I just got gas. That's weird. She turns around. Everything's dark. No lights on, no people, no cars, bars on the windows, boarded up windows, a completely abandoned gas station. Ugh, it makes me want to throw up thinking about it. So of course, like any normal human, my mom's like, I've lost my mind, or I've fallen into a different dimension. She speeds off, gets on the interstate, completely weirded out, looks at her gas tank. Her gas is full. She got gas at this non-existent gas station. It's not on her credit card history, nothing. They go back, look on maps. There's no gas station there. Never figured it out. It's been years.
The fact that there was gas in her car. Explain how there was gas in her car. If it had been an abandoned gas station, I'm sure her mom would have noticed before she started pumping gas. Like, this is just so weird to me. And this extra creeps me out because it almost feels like a video game taking pity on you. Like, stick with me here. Imagine you are playing a video game. Imagine you're in The Sims and you're driving your car and your car can run out of gas. And you, as the person like controlling the Sims, you're like, oh dang, they need a gas station. So you just like pop one in right quick. But then once it served its purpose, it's just gone. Was it that? Was it just a timeline glitch where she popped out of our timeline and into an alternate one where she could get gas, and would it be stranded on the side of the road? I don't know. But what's really interesting is I actually have a second gas station story for you. This story comes from Real Life Ghost Stories, who says that she found the following story on the 14 Times forum from an anonymous poster. And she just tells this story so well. So I'm gonna let her tell you the full thing and then I'll be back to talk theories.
Our original poster stayed anonymous, but back in the early 90s, he was about 18, 19 years old and was working in a summer job. Now in this job, him and his colleague used to take a work van and they would drive the same route every single day. So it was a stretch of road through a forest, completely straight, thick forest on either side. They did it every day, multiple times a day. So this one day, they are driving back to their work building through this straight stretch of road in the forest when they realise they're nearly out of gas. And they decide, look, we're going to keep going, see how far we get, and then if we need to call somebody, we'll call somebody. At the time, the van had long-wave radio, and they reach this stretch of road and the radio cuts out, stops working, a black spot. And on the right-hand side of the road, they notice that there's this shed, this corrugated iron, flat-roofed shed that they've never seen before, with a handwritten sign that just says gas. So they're like, weird, we've never seen this before, but also great. So the pair didn't really think that much of it. They were kind of like, oh, how weird is it that we've driven this road every day and we haven't seen this gas station before? But they thought because it was so mundane, so normal, they just didn't register it in their brain. So the original poster goes into this corrugated iron shed. I mean, clearly I had never seen a horror film. But he goes in, he calls out hello. Eventually this little man in his 60s appears and he's sort of short. He's round, he's wearing a pair of trousers held up by a pair of braces and a flannel shirt. He has these really thick Coke bottle glasses and like a Greek fisherman's hat. The original poster is like, well, I need to get some gas, and the guy seems quite put out by the whole thing. So he's fumbling around, getting this key, he's mumbling in Swedish. He goes out and he's sort of rocking from side to side, constantly watching the two men. And the two guys are like, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to us. So they fill up with gas, and as they're driving away, they look in the rearview mirror and the man is standing on the side of the road, sort of waving both hands in the air at them. And they're like, that was such a strange encounter. By the time they get back to their workplace, the van is on its last legs. It's sputtering, it's smoking, things are not looking good. So the work mechanic reckons that they've either put petrol or diesel into the van when they shouldn't have. And he's like, right, we need to siphon it out. So they siphon it out. But what comes out is sweet and smells like turpentine. And the mechanic looks at it and he goes, well, this is wartime gasoline. Where did you get this? Wartime gasoline was basically this sort of crude concoction that was used during wartime when people didn't have enough fuel, and it wouldn't make your car run efficiently, but it would make your vehicle run. So the two guys say, well, we stopped at that gas station along the road. And the mechanic is like, what gas station? There's no gas station along that road. There never has been. An original poster described this moment as being like a bubble burst. The two friends, the two work colleagues were suddenly like, we don't ever remember there being a gas station on that road. They went, eventually drove up and down the road. There was no sign of the gas station, no sign that there ever had been a gas station there. And in later life, the original poster was still really perturbed by this whole story, and he did some research. There never was a gas station there. But one of the really amazing things about this story is that he physically kept the receipt. This strange man in this strange gas station had handwritten a receipt and given it to him, and he had put it into his wallet. So he knew that he had physically been there. That fuel was put into the van somehow. But there was no evidence of there ever being a gas station there. So was it a glitch in the matrix? Was it a time slip? Was it a step into an alternate universe? Why did the radios black out on that stretch of road? Who knows?
Like, was that not eerily similar to the last TikTok that we talked about with the gas station? Again, these two people seem to have glitched out of reality into some kind of alternate universe where they could get what they needed to get home. The fact that it was wartime gas, like, you can't just buy that. You cannot just go buy wartime gas. Like, that's not like a thing you can just do. It kind of makes sense too if they did slip out of their own timeline and into another one, that the guy who was like helping them would have been really confused and taken aback by such like a futuristic looking car. Because to me, what this seems like is that they went back in time, or maybe to another reality where there's currently some kind of war in that area. I don't know. Stories like these past two though, I just don't understand how that could possibly be explained. Especially in this one, just no gas station there, no gas station ever in that area. Anyway, on to our next TikTok.
If you've never experienced a glitch in the matrix, this is probably not the video for you, so just continue scrolling because you're gonna think that I'm crazy.
This video comes from Lauren Ann's World 1 on TikTok, who has a childhood glitch in the matrix to tell us about that haunts her to this very day. When Lauren is in 4th or 5th grade, her grandma would pick her up from school 2 to 3 times a week. She says her grandma lived nearby, they were super close. She was always going to her grandmother's home, like walking through the woods to get there. They were just very, very close. She spent a ton of time in her childhood with her grandmother. And sometimes when her grandma would pick her up, they would go to Wendy's. And in a Wendy's is where this poster experienced seemingly her very first glitch in the matrix.
My grandma has very prominent blue eyes, like crystal clear. It's a very prominent feature about my grandma that she has very blue, piercing crystal blue eyes. So this one day, she picks me up, we go to Wendy's, we're sitting in the glass area. If you know Wendy's back then you know what I'm talking about. We're sitting there eating our fries, and I look up at my grandma, and my grandma has brown eyes. They're brown. And so naturally I was like, Grandma, your eyes are brown. And she was like, yeah, Lauren, I have brown eyes. I was like, Grandma, no, you don't. You have very blue eyes. What do you mean you have blue eyes? And she was like, no, Lauren, I have brown eyes. So whatever, we eat. She takes me home, and this is the whole thing. I talked to my mom too, and I'm like, Mom, Grandma has brown eyes. And my mom was like, yeah, Grandma has brown eyes. No, she doesn't. She has blue eyes. What do you mean she has brown eyes? Like, everyone knows that Grandma has blue eyes, and everybody was making me believe that I was crazy. The next time that I see my grandma, 3 days later, my grandma has blue eyes again. So of course I'm like, Grandma, your eyes are blue. Why are your eyes blue? And she's like, yeah, Lauren, I have blue eyes. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? We just had this conversation 3 days ago when you had brown eyes, and I told you that you had blue eyes, and you're telling me that you have brown eyes, but I know that you have blue eyes, and now that you have blue eyes again, you're telling me that you know you have blue eyes? I'm not crazy. This was not a dream. I did not dream this. This happened. I didn't make that shit up. Like, that was reality. I didn't miss a day. Like, this happened. Has anybody else ever experienced anything like that? With people's eyes changing colors? And they fully believe that their eyes were a different color. I'll never forget that.
Now, my first thought was, maybe the grandmother put in colored contacts and the mom went along with it to like confuse Lauren Ann. But also, would they not come clean about that all these years later if it's clearly something that this poster still thinks about on a regular basis? Her grandma's known for these crazy blue eyes. One day they're suddenly brown and then they're blue again and everyone acts like she's the crazy one. That is not Lauren's only glitch in the Matrix story. It was just the one she wanted to tell first. So following this, she posted another video. This glitch is much more recent, happened in her adulthood. One day, she leaves her house to go to the gym, and she has a full productive day ahead of her. She gets in her car, she drives to the gym, she takes her car keys, and on her car keys is one of those little fobs that you use to like scan yourself into a gym. She does that, she works out, she leaves, she runs like 4 more errands, okay? She's having a full day and taking her car, this is important, to each location. Her car is one of those push to starts, so you don't have to like actually physically put a key in an ignition, but you do have to have the fob in the car. You can't start the car without the fob. So tell me why she gets home after this full day of errands and realizes her keys weren't in her car at all.
This was 3 different stops. I made 3 different stops. I had to ignite my car with my keys 3 separate times before I got home. I get home and I'm still sitting in the car and I can't find my keys anywhere to go unlock my house. Like, I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking through my gym bag. I'm looking in the back of the car. I cannot find my keys anywhere. They're gone. I can't. 20 minutes have passed. I'm looking for the keys. So then I'm just like, let me just go see if I left the door unlocked so I can just grab the dogs. My car is still running. Let me just go grab the dogs and we can go on a walk and find them later. If that even makes sense. So I walk up to my house and my keys are dangling from the lock of my house. Make it make sense. I had to physically use my keys to turn on my car 3 separate times before I got home to come get the dogs, but they were dangling in the lock of my house.
Okay, maybe there's a world where she has a spare key in her car she doesn't know about. That's how it was starting on its own without the keys in the car. How would she have scanned into the gym? Huh? How would she have scanned into the gym? That's so weird to me. It's almost like she glitched into a timeline where she'd already walked up to the door and put her keys in to unlock it. I don't know. This poster has some crazy stories. I actually literally sat there and scrolled through her entire account wondering if she had told any more, and I haven't seen any, but these 2 were really creepy.
Proof that we live in a simulation. I have literally found my simulation twin. Like, we were cut from the same cloth, made from the same template, whatever you want to call it, because she is living my life out in California.
Now, this video comes from Julia Wang HTX, and she has a simulation twin. There's really just no other way to put it. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, so you have someone in your life who lives an incredibly similar life to you. But just listen to these coincidences between her and her simulation twin, because I'm telling you, by the end of this, I was like, oh, you have a simulation twin.
Some background info. So I live in Houston, Texas. My simulation twin, her name is Caroline. She lives in California, and we've known each other for a while because we both grew up in Dallas, and so we have a lot of mutual friends. But it wasn't until recently where we discovered how similar and how eerily similar our lives are. So this is my family right here. I'm actually Korean and I'm married to a Taiwanese man, and he is a tech entrepreneur. He started several tech companies and he develops software. So our kids, we have 3 kids. They're obviously half Taiwanese, half Korean. I have Cameron. She is the oldest. She's 8 years old. Jordan, he is my middle child. And then my son, Atlas, he is 11 weeks old. So this is Caroline's beautiful family, and Caroline is Korean like I am, and she's also married to a Taiwanese man who happens to be in tech, and a lot of Asians are in tech, so that's not that big of a deal. But she has 3 kids, and her oldest is a girl, and then it's followed by 2 boys, just like me. And the age difference between her kids are the same as mine. So her daughter is named Charlotte. My daughter is named Cameron.
Her middle son is named Jacob. My son is named Jordan. So yeah, it's not the same name, but it starts with the same letter. And then her youngest is named Chance. And while my son is named Atlas, she actually messaged me saying that Atlas was one of the names that they were considering because her son, her middle son, apparently likes maps a lot. And Atlas is not like a common name. Like no one I know is named Atlas. So the fact that she was considering that name is crazy. So we're both the oldest in our family. I have a sister, she has a brother. So my sister Nina, she went to Pratt Art School in New York. If you know Pratt, it's like a very small, hard to get into art school in New York. And her brother went to Pratt. So my husband is the only child, the golden son, and he unfortunately lost his father to cancer a couple years ago. And my simulation twin, her husband is also the only child, and he lost his mother to cancer the same year. And we both drive a minivan, and not only just a minivan, but we drive the Toyota Pacifica hybrid minivan. And what's crazy is like, I actually got this minivan as part of a collab with Driveway. So the fact that she owns that is crazy. To me, this is not a coincidence. Like, we have way too many similarities and very specific similarities. And I really feel like we were like made from the same template, character template for this simulation. But I don't know, call me crazy. What do you guys think?
How crazy is that? The same kids. The kids were what really got me. They both had a daughter and then two sons, and the first two kids for both of them had the same first letter of their names, and then their babies were almost named the exact same thing. It's literally almost like Julia can get a glimpse into an alternate reality, one where she doesn't live where she does, but she's instead gallivanting off in California, but also not, because they live such similar lives. They have such a similar story. I don't know. This one was kind of sweet to me though. I think I'd like having a simulation twin so I could just like peek in and see like an alternate version of my life. That reminds me, I've really been meaning to tell you guys about this, but have you been having the craziest dreams this year, or is it just me? Earlier this year, I had a dream where I met my soulmate in like an alternate plane of reality, where people link up with their soulmates in the astral realm so that they can get married later in life. If you didn't hear this story, you're probably like, whoa. If you did hear the story, you're probably still like, whoa. But stick with me here. So I had that dream. It was really vivid, and I still don't know whether or not that was a dream. But lately, I've been having even crazier ones where I will get a glimpse into an alternate life for myself. Like a life where, let's say I stayed in college and never made a YouTube video. I will know as I have these dreams, not that I'm dreaming, but that I am not myself. I have all of the same people in my life. Well, sometimes. Sometimes people are like different things to me in the dream. My brother is always the same. My mom's always the same. My dad's always the same. Like my immediate family, always same cast of characters, if you will. But people around me will change. And I'll know in the dream, not that I'm dreaming, but I'll have this sense of like, it's okay, whatever happens here, I don't stay here. Literally like I'm going into an alternate universe of myself, living out a day as that person, and then waking up in my bed. And this has happened more than once. It's happened with me being a doctor, with me being a mom to like 3 kids. There was one reality where I could skateboard, and that was just my whole life was skateboarding. And if you know me, you know I'm the most uncoordinated human being on planet Earth. There's no way. Maybe I'm visiting alternate realities when I sleep. I don't know. I've been telling everyone I know about this recently, and everyone has agreed that it's really weird. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. This video comes from Mad Hatter News, who explored an article titled, "Yet Another Person Has Found a Precious Missing Object in a Place It Couldn't Possibly Be." Apparently, this is a phenomenon recently.
Lots of people are coming out recently reporting that missing objects are being found in places that they couldn't have possibly been. And this is making the news. This is a purely for fun section of the news, but they're saying there's a strange supernatural trend that's happening right now where a lot of people are suddenly finding precious lost objects in places that they had never been before. Like finding a lost ring their dad gave them years later in a random parking lot in a state they've never been to. Discovering photos of their own family in a thrift shop several states away. One woman's grandma gave her ruby earrings as a child, and she lost one of them as a child. She moved from Arizona to Alaska, and when she stepped out of the car in Alaska, she found the missing earring as an adult in Alaska under her foot. What? Now listen, all of these people could very well be lying. I personally did have ghosts in my house in Japan. I don't care if anyone believes me, I did. And it would steal my jewelry, and then I would find it in random places. There's some jewelry it took that I never found, actually. I would literally place it down, turn around, and it would be gone. Glitch in the Matrix, ghosts, who knows? What do you guys think about this? Follow for more tea.
Now, if you just lost something, maybe in your house, and it turned up like 5 days later, I could understand that. Sometimes it can be a little unnerving, especially when you know you've looked in a place a million times, whatever. But a lot of these stories, like people finding family heirlooms in random parking lots, I don't know, that's really weird. And it was just in the like for fun section of this like website, but creepy nonetheless. If you guys watched my last video, you know that there's been a lot of buzz on TikTok recently around New Orleans, specifically like the scary side of New Orleans. And this poster's glitch is so unsettling. Now, our poster candikaine starts out this TikTok by saying that this is not abnormal for the South. Specifically in New Orleans, places will glitch and change and disappear. And one night this poster and her friend are going out to the French Quarter. Neither of them are drinking, stone cold sober, because the friend of this poster had to drive. And this is how she got dragged into a bizarre like warp of space and time.
When we get there, we park the car, and this was the first time I'd ever seen this feature on the phone where you can set where you parked your car so you can find it again. Because I started to walk away and she's like, hold on, like let me set it. So I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like she explained it to me. I'm like, that's really dope. And I was like, well, I would have noticed where we were because the building was really specific and there was a cowboy. I'm gonna show what the cowboy is. I'm from the country. We're both from the country. So I'm used to seeing this in people's yards. It's not really common to have this like cutout display in like the city and in New Orleans, but I'm familiar with it. So I'm like, oh, I would have noticed this distinct building and the cowboy. I don't know if I can insert a picture. Okay, so this is what I mean by the cowboy. This is just like a yard display, and it was propped up against this building. Now, this is just something insignificant that I thought it was just insignificant that I just mentioned. We go, we have a good time. Eventually, my feet start hurting. I'm like, all right, let's go. I want to get in the bed. I want to eat. Like, I just want to go. So the car should not have been far. We start walking, and she's like, for some reason, like it's not even popping up. It's like I didn't even set it. So I'm like, that's really weird. But I remember the street name. I remember the distinct buildings. I remember things. So I'm like, we're going to find it. Like, don't even trip. So we start walking. Lord, we walked around for hours.
They walk around for hours looking for the car. The poster's maps aren't making sense. Her friend's maps aren't making sense. They can't find this car. And these are grown women who very clearly like this is abnormal, right? Like this is weird. They're both sober. Obviously, they can't find the car. Their maps are messing up to the point where like they can't even figure out how to get to where they were going. So hours of this pass. They are literally just walking the streets of New Orleans until finally something catches their eye.
So we see the cowboy and the building at the exact same time. I go to say something, Lord, and it's like we had been faked out so many times. I kind of didn't want to say something, and like we still weren't in the right place. Like it made no sense, Lord. So I see the cowboys like across the street. So I'm like, I know that the car is this way on this street. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm about to say something, and Lord, I don't know if she gasped or what, but we look up and we see the cowboy that's still there in the same spot that it had been. He gets up, just the shadow gets up and starts walking across the street to where we are. So when she kind of like, I felt like she was going to say something, I just grabbed her hand and I'm like, it's okay. So I'm just like rubbing her hand, and if like women, we know, even if it's terrifying, somebody has to step up and be like the brave one. So I was being the brave one because I didn't want her to start like freaking out. So I'm holding her hand and I'm just like rubbing her hand. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's all right. I'm like, just cross the street with me. So I hold her hand and I take her, and she's like stiff. So he's crossing the street this way. We cross the street that way. So we go like a little bit away. When we make it to the little building, I turn, bam, the car's right there. We must have approached this little area from every which direction for hours. Never came across the car, never came across the cowboy. After he like crossed, I kept my head straight. I'm just like holding her hand. I'm talking to her. I didn't watch it. I don't know. And it wasn't until I told this story, like I uploaded it yesterday on the long form content place. It wasn't until I told that story that I made the connection that possibly us crossing it might have been how we got out of that weird little loop. But it's been years and I hadn't made that connection until yesterday.
That is so terrifying because I have that same feature on my phone, the one that saves where your car is parked, and it's suddenly not working anymore, like not even showing up is weird in itself, almost like they weren't in their own reality. But then the cowboy, like this cowboy cutout, starts walking. Like when she talked about that, my body just, it is so unnerving. I had like a physical reaction from that. And she had to be the strong one in that situation, but I can't even imagine how terrifying it was. Now, candikaine elaborated on this further on the 3 a.m. vanishing act of the South. And I thought that her explanation was really, really interesting.
So there's a freaky phenomenon that happens in New Orleans where businesses and buildings, and sometimes people, tend to disappear and reappear and disappear once more. How this happens, it depends on who you ask. But one thing remains the same. This really does happen. Some people call it card shuffling. And a lot of times this happens in the French Quarter, which, as you know, is a hotspot for paranormal, supernatural activity. A lot of accounts say that this happens around 3 a.m. And some people said that they've experienced this around Savannah, Georgia, and some parts of Florida. But I know for sure this happens in Louisiana.
There were some people who stitched this and said, yeah, the South plays disappearing acts. I also find it interesting she mentioned Savannah, Georgia. That place being a location where people like glitch through timelines and things disappear and reappear, that makes sense to me. If you've never been to Savannah and you've never been to New Orleans, they feel kind of similar to me. The energy there is just unexplainable. Now, Miss candikaine, I was looking at her in this video and I was like, where have I seen this woman before? She makes like videos sometimes about creepy things, about creepy experiences and paranormal stuff and whatnot. But where I knew her from was specifically Dream Talk. That's right, we've got an entire sector of TikTok for dreams. This could be its own video in itself, but this is so fascinating to me. I've been trying to actually find this TikTok again for weeks. This poster had a dream where she met another living, breathing person who was in the same shared dream space as her.
Honestly, I don't know how else to give this update, but the girl from my dream found me in real life.
And y'all, this is wild. So how she came to realize this was the person in her dream asked her what the time is. And this was around the time where people on TikTok were saying like, ask people in your dreams for the date or the time because it'll have weird effects. Some people say the dream gets kind of scary, like everyone in the dream suddenly knows that you know you're dreaming. That's been my experience lucid dreaming. Also, every time I realize I'm dreaming, everybody in my dream will stop what they're doing and like look at me. Very uncomfortable. I don't like lucid dreaming. So the girl in her dream asks her for the time and she realizes that this girl is sharing a dream with her.
So when the girl in my dream asked me the date and the time, I'm like, why would I know the time? I'm asleep. But I gave her a date, which I didn't realize was the wrong date until I woke up. But that's how we kind of realized that she wasn't going to have the dream until a later date. So I decided, I'm like, well, you must be on TikTok because like to know to ask me that, so I'd post a video so that she could find me in real life. I got tagged in a video this morning of a girl claiming to have had that same dream and remembers like that conversation. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first video, but I definitely said it in the second video about the dream that I wasn't given all the details because I wanted to be able to compare notes. I didn't want somebody to just tell me, oh yeah, I had this dream, and I would know if like they were bull If you think about it, it's a dream. Anything can happen in a dream. She came with the details. She mentioned things in her video that I didn't even mention in mine. Like she mentioned things I'd only ever told my partner. So nobody knew these details. We're in contact now. We're trying to figure out what it means. If anything, I'm sure it means something. We just don't know what it means yet.
Now, I couldn't find the original video that the poster was talking about where she talked about the dream in the first place in hopes of finding the girl that she met in it. But finally, with the help of my friend Susie, it was so hard to track down the other woman who she was talking about in this video, the woman who met her in the dream. And I'm sure this is the girl that the poster was talking about because the poster actually commented on this video and said, "You are sharing details that I didn't even share in my video."
So this could be completely far-fetched, but I remember March 28th, 29th, because it was before I moved, I had a dream that I was on a girls' trip. Now this girls' trip, the way it was hosted is that we went to multiple locations. I recall us going to the beach, having drinks, and taking content for social media. But at the end of the dream, we were on a hike. On this hike, there's two girls with me. They're wearing shorts, tank tops with backpacks, and combat boots. So they're pretty much like dressed like Laura Croft. During this hike, I remember it being super hot because the sun was out and it's just beaming on us. And the girl to my right, she was like, "Okay, can we stop? I need a break." I'm like, "No, we're almost there. We should keep going." And then the girl who was in front of me, she turns around and she's like, "Yeah, and I'm trying to get there before the sun comes up." I was like, "What?" What? That doesn't make sense. The sun is already out. So what do you mean the sun is coming up? Did this dream end in a hike, bro? I need to know. Like, did it end in a hike?
So this poster, Siona, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, she makes this first video. The poster comment on it is like, "Yeah, I mean, you are the girl from my dream. That's crazy." So she makes a secondary video kind of following up to that with just a bit more information.
So continuing where I left off from the first video, the woman had just said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get there before the sun rises." And I'm a person who's consciously aware in the dream state. I've only done like surface level research on astral travel and astral projection, so I don't know much about that. But I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. If the sun is out in the dream, the sun would only be rising somewhere else. So I'm like, are you real? Does that mean like the sun is rising for you in the 3D? So I asked, are you real? And the person was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued because I've never experienced this before. I was consciously aware with another individual, a stranger in fact, consciously aware in my dream, and they're consciously aware in the same dream, and then we became consciously aware of each other being conscious in this dream. I've never experienced this before. So I'm like, okay, I wonder if I could find this person in the 3D reality. So I asked, where are you? What time is it? I started asking other questions too, but it's like that reality, that dream state started to fade, and like that individual that I was talking to started to go inaudible. Like I couldn't hear them, and it started to blur. Like my vision started to blur, like a laptop or a cellular device shutting down. You see the screen fade. That's how it was. Like, okay, we're closing out this application now. It's time to get up. That's how the dream ended for me. I don't know.
I find this story so fascinating, and it's actually really interesting. This story is why when I had my soulmate dream, because I had seen all of this like floating around a few weeks before that, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's not that weird that I met my soulmate in a dream way before I ever met them in real life. This entire thing is just so fascinating to me. I just don't think that we understand what dreams even are. Like, I've heard of people sharing dreams before. I've heard of like twins having the same dreams, of being in each other's dreams and having the same memories of them when they wake up. I have also shared dreams with people that I'm very, very close with. So I know firsthand this isn't fake. I'm actually very curious if you've had an experience like that where you have connected with someone through dreams, a loved one, a stranger, whatever. Let me know. I'm actually so curious. One final video though from Miss candikaine. I'm telling you, this poster has an absolutely amazing TikTok account. She also shares like full stories here on YouTube, but she responded to an Audacity video where she asked, tell me the weirdest dream you've ever had that you don't think was a dream at all. And she starts the video by saying that she once had a dream where a character in it told her that she would expire if she didn't find a way to wake up. So the way that this happened is that the poster fell asleep basically while waiting on their mom to come home for lunch. She had a routine with her mother where like 5 times a week her mom would come home at noon, they would get some lunch together, and they would watch, she said, Judge Judy or something, and that was just their routine, and they did this like most of the week. She doesn't set an alarm because her mom is about to come home. And the first moment that she realizes that she's in a dream, that she's asleep, is when she dreams that she's in an airport with a group of people. And this is odd to her because she travels alone. So she knew like, okay, this is a dream, I'm dreaming. And this dream starts to just get really stressful. A pattern of back-to-back events occur, she says. First off, they miss their flight. And this is normally something that in real life would really freak her out, but she just goes with it. She's in a dream, no big deal. They start looking for the car rental place now that their flight has been canceled. They can't find that. And eventually she gets separated from this group in the large crowd of the airport. And that's when she encounters someone or something that said something absolutely horrifying to her.
So I'm going down this escalator, and I look down and I realize that the bottom of the escalator is just disintegrating. It's just falling apart. Everything's falling down into just darkness. So there was no other situation being created. It was just darkness. And there's a blur of people, the same way that it would be in an airport with just people just coming and going and coming and going. And I notice one guy off the side who's looking at me, and he's completely still. He's dressed in all black. He stands out from everybody else. So I see him see me, and I'm like, so I'm just trying to like sing songs to myself to wake myself up. And if you're familiar with my content, if you've seen any of my lucid dreaming videos, I kind of tell people how to do it in a safe way or not to do it, things like that. So if you've seen any of those videos, then you know I'll sing a song over and over and over until I wake up, because your brain has no choice but to kind of wake you up. But that wasn't working. So he looks over at me and he's like, you know, if you don't find a way out of here, you're stuck. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? He's like, if you here, you're gonna be stuck here too, so you better find a way to wake yourself up. So I'm like, I'm not really tripping because my mom's gonna be home soon. She's gonna wake me up. So if I can't wake myself up, she's gonna wake me up. And he's like, no, she's not coming home today, so you better figure it out. And he comes off as like really concerned, but like, I can't help you, you better figure it out. So I'm freaking out. I'm singing the song over and over. I'm not waking up. I'm crying and screaming until I was screaming, help me, until like I just held on to that like help. And I woke up gasping for air because I stopped breathing. And I'm crying and I'm freaking out. Now, this could have been my brain trying to find a way to wake me up, my anxiety manifesting, or something in the fact that I normally would have woken up in that stressful situation, but since I knew that I was dreaming, I didn't wake myself up. However, I checked my phone, and sure enough, there's a message from my mom that I got after I'd fallen asleep telling me that she wasn't coming home because she was working through her lunch break. So I completely believe that if I wasn't able to wake myself up, that I would have. I just always felt like it was deeper than just a regular dream, but I don't know.
I just find it so strange that the man in her dream knew her mom wasn't coming home. Like, maybe it was her own brain telling her that because she just had a weird feeling, but I don't know. It's just such a specific detail. And the way that she described it, like this escalator going down into darkness, disintegrating, and this man is like, if you don't find a way to get out of here, you're gone. That's just really eerie to me. And the fact that her mom wasn't coming home, like, I'm so glad she's okay. I agree with her. I really don't think that was a dream. And I'm glad that she found her way back, but dang, was that creepy. Once again, this poster has so many stories, literally so many incredible stories, glitch in the matrix type stories, like crazy dream experiences, even crazier than some of these. So make sure to check out her account. I, as always, have everybody that I talk about listed down below. Then for a TikToker named Chloe or Homegrown Living, this poster seemed to be recalling one of her past lives while visiting a town in the present.
The most insane thing just happened to me. Oh my god.
So this poster has moved back to an area that she once lived in before she had children. She said around 13 years ago. Now she lives there again with her kids and her husband. So they go out on walks on the weekends, just kind of exploring this area that they live in now. And they decide to go to a little village around this area, one that the poster says she has visited in this lifetime. However, while she was there, it almost seems like timelines were crossing for her.
Anyway, so I have this dream about a certain street. I have it all the time. I have a dream about this street, and I've had it quite a few times, and every time it kind of goes around this old street, and it's nighttime, and one of the doors is opened up, and it's like there's a sort of event going on, and there's always like cakes. There's like cakes in there, like there's like maybe like a nighttime bake sale or something. Like it's really strange. Anyway.
So she's walking along this street. She's like, I've dreamed about this street before. This is the street that I dream about on a frequent basis. She's kind of having this moment of almost like deja vu recognition with this place.
And it's actually a house now. Like you can't go in there. It's somebody's house. And it's like 1600s. This street is really, really old. Everything says like 1601 on it. Like everything's really old. And then I look across and there's this antique store, and I love antiques. So I was like, oh, it's really quiet up here. Like I would never have seen this if I didn't go up here. And I was like, I'm just gonna pop in real quick. As I get to the door, you kind of have to step down. It's a really, it's 1600s. It's really small. It's just a small place. I step down into it. It's like a cute little antique store. And something inside of me, or like something kind of goes whooshes through my brain. I don't know if it was like a physical thing, and I instantly remember being in this space, and it's really small, and on the right hand side there's a really big fireplace. Like the whole place is basically a big walk-in fireplace where they would have the hearth of the home, and the woman's talking to someone else. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like get my bearings here. So the people leave, and she comes over to me and she said, oh, can I help you with anything? And I go, oh, I was just looking around at these like bread bowls. And she went, oh, I've seen you before. You've been in here before. And I was like, no, I haven't. Why would you say that? And she's like, oh, I recognize you. You've been here before. And I was like, no, I haven't. But I feel like I've been here before. Like I've been here, but not in this time. Like it wasn't an antique store. Like I've been in this when it was a home. And she's like, it's always been an antique store for as long as she remembers. She doesn't own it. She rents it out. So obviously once it was, but she's like, I've been here for years. And so I was like, well, I've never been here. And she's like, well, how do I recognize you though? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how weird is that? So I was like shaky, because I was like, well, that's so weird, because I've walked in here and I recognize this place. And she was talking to these other people saying, oh, can you imagine when like the fire would have been on and it was all cozy? And I was like, yeah, I do remember that actually.
So she knew the layout of this place, like knew it as if she knew it before it was an antique shop, if that makes sense. Which only really would make sense if maybe she lived there in a past life or something, unless she toured it that decade ago or something and just doesn't remember it. That could be possible. I still think it's weird that she remembers so many details. She has dreams about this place. It's strange. But after this, she meets up with her husband at a pub.
We go out back because it's really small. There's no spaces, and the girls are like playing. And I was like, Gary, like something weird just happened. Let me go get the girls some juices from the bar, some fruit shoots or whatever. So I go to the bar and I'm waiting there, and there's this guy there, right, serving, and he went, I'll be with you in a second. And I had my hands in my pockets, so like I was like, oh, okay, no worries. And then he looked up and he went, oh, I've seen you before. You're back. And I was like, I've never been in here before. And he's like, oh, but you have the tattoos on your fingers. And I was like, what? Well, I went like this, and I was like, I do. And he went, no, the other hand. And I was like, this? And he went, yeah, that. This tattoo. He's like, yeah, I remember you had that tattoo on your finger. And I recognized your face. You were in here before. And I was like, I have never been in here before. And if I have, it would have been 15 years ago. And he's like, well, I haven't been here. He was like a South African guy. He's like, you know, I'm pretty new. 2 people within 20 minutes told me that they recognized me. He recognized tattoos on my hand. He recognized my face. This woman recognized me.
Like she said, this isn't exactly like a foreign place to her. She has been here before, but not in over a decade. And the bartender knew the little tattoo on her finger. Like, it's just so weird.
Okay, everything's so crazy. I've had a dream about this place.
Was this a place she maybe once lived in a past life, and is that why she was drawn to come back to this area all of these years later? I won't pretend to know all the details, but I do think this is eerie. And I truly think the timelines were crossing over for her, or that she was just having a crazy past life experience, like a past life memory, and she was tapping into that. That was just so unsettling, because again, with a lot of these stories, it's like, I feel like you can tell when a poster is unnerved. You can tell when they are freaked out by their own story. This video from Lex Run shows a real life glitch in the Matrix. Like, her child's toy fully glitching out.
You guys, I'm freaking the out. It is literally 2:50 a.m. Do you hear that? That is my baby's bubble bath crab in the restroom. It just turned on out of nowhere. And I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack.
Checks, come on, buddy. Come on, let's go check. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come with me. Come on. Come on. My dog won't even come. Come on, buddy. He's coming.
At first I thought this might be paranormal, but the more I watch it, the more I'm convinced it was a glitch in the Matrix. The toy is like levitating and just repeatedly going off. Like, what is it holding on to? I don't know. If you're familiar with this toy, does it stick onto the wall or something? It's so strange to me because it's just hovering there. This video is from Essence Creations 27. Now, we talked about this poster in my last video, and she was the vampire Lyft driver. I loved her story so much, I was going through her page when I found what I would describe as a glitch in the Matrix experience.
How does one person have a near-death experience and 2 people experience it in 2 different ways?
The story starts off with a poster saying that she's on her 3rd pregnancy. She's had 2 C-sections with her past 2 pregnancies, and this baby is going to be delivered through a vaginal birth because apparently it's very risky to cut someone open like a 3rd time. Apparently there's just a lot of risks to it. And while she's going into labor, she's just feeling like something is very off. You know, that motherly instinct kicks in and she's like, something isn't right here. The doctors are like, no, your vitals look fine. We're looking at the monitors. You're good. Don't worry. And she was like, no, something's actually genuinely wrong. Like, you need to take me to the operating room right now, to which the doctor refused. But when another doctor comes in, she quickly realizes that's not true.
Thank goodness they switched shifts and another doctor came on. It was a black lady with locks. Thank goodness for her, because she came in and she said, they keep saying that you want to go to the OR. Why is that? I said, because I have a feeling that something is really wrong and I need to go now. We go down there and guess what? I am ruptured. She says that within like me being on a table for 20 seconds. Now, when you have a C-section, they give you oxygen. Why you would think I'm awake, I should be able to breathe? No, you need the oxygen. I was not getting enough oxygen and I slowly felt myself slipping away. Now, let me tell you, do not ever have a fear of death, because I used to be so afraid of death prior to this, but because I started dying and I saw what it felt like, it is almost feels so amazing and peaceful
that is hard to resist, but I knew that I needed to be here. For like, I had to talk myself back up to get the strength and energy to tap my husband and let him know that something is wrong. I was just like, oxygen. Like, that was the last breath I had in me to be able to get it out. And he's like, she needs oxygen. And they're like, she needs oxygen. Oh my gosh, her numbers are so low. Da, 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 da. But I was like sinking into the death. This video is not sponsored by the Grim Reaper, and I do not recommend anyone try to go for it before it's your time.
And thank God this other doctor took her seriously. I think it's something like 1 in 5 Black women say that they have been treated unfairly in a healthcare facility, and especially pregnant Black women so often are not given the care that they need. They're not given pain medication when they request it. Like, it's an entire problem of racism in the like healthcare world. So that's traumatic enough in itself. Thank God her baby was safe. Thank God she was safe. But she's recounting on this one day with her mother. She's recounting on this experience and is, you know, just talking about the trauma that she went through. This is when she realizes her mother has an entirely different memory of that day than she does.
My mom's like, yeah, I was so scared because when your husband came out the room and he was crying and he was telling us that you were dying and they were in there giving you a blood transfusion right then, that was the scariest day of my life. And I said, I didn't have to have a blood transfusion. And she's like, yes, you did. And I remember distinctly, it was me, and she's naming the people who were in the waiting room, which were the people that were in the waiting room. And she's like, and he came out, and I had to hold him because he was so scared. And I'm like, Mom, like, he was there with me the whole time. He never left. So now I have to call him and find out. And I'm like, hey, did I have to have a blood transfusion? He's like, no, you didn't have to have a blood transfusion. I was like, well, my mom said that you came out and told her that I was in there getting a blood transfusion. He's like, I never left your side, which I know he never left my side. And yes, I almost died, but we didn't tell my mom that because I would never tell my mom that. She is like already paranoid and scared of something happening to one of her kids anyways. So now the question is, all of you people who have all the answers, because it's a ton of you all, how is it that in my near-death experience, there were like 2 different experiences from different people when in reality I did like come this close to death? So then I even looked up the paperwork from the hospital where it said that not only did I have a rupture, the rupture extended over to a major artery to which I lost a substantial amount of blood. But then also on there, it has a part where it says needed a blood transfusion. No. So riddle me this.
That is so weird. That is so weird, especially when you consider she has the paperwork saying she wasn't going to get a blood transfusion, anything like that. She knows that didn't happen. She knows what happened. Her husband knows what happened. Her mother has a completely different memory of events. So ultimately, I'm just happy she's safe and her kids are safe and they're able to grow up with their mom because she had a competent Black female doctor who stepped in and took her seriously. But I just can't even imagine like hearing something like this. Hearing that someone else has a different story about your near-death experience than you do. This poster named Jayntly actually posted a video of them calling an inactive phone number to a psych ward from the early 1900s. Captioned it, "Things only white people would do." Honestly fair, because the minute I saw this, I was like, what's the number? But you probably will not agree with me after you hear what she heard.
Things only white people do.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was. Why was someone answering at all if the phone line was inactive, and why did it sound like that? I really don't think she was expecting it either because she looks so genuinely terrified in this clip. So I'm curious who exactly she had on the line. So finally, we have 2 videos from bizamanic And this poster we've talked about in a previous Glitch in the Matrix TikTok video. Do you remember him? We were talking about how he cooked a waffle. He had a waffle in the toaster and the waffle just disappeared. It was a whole big to-do and it was very weird, and he was convinced that, you know, he just didn't understand where this waffle went. Anyways, that ended up leading to him getting all of these people in his comment section sharing their Glitch in the Matrix stories. You guys, he has like over 20 something parts of this the last time I looked, and every single one of them is so scary. They're all from his TikTok comment section, from real people with stories you've just never heard before. I highly recommend just binging the whole playlist. I find them so fascinating, but I wanted to share with you some of my favorites that he's told.
So a couple weeks ago, I posted a video about how I put a waffle in the toaster, and then when it popped and was done, it was gone, and I still can't find it. Well, you all commented on that video with some very similar strange things that's happened to you. So here's top 10 glitches in the Matrix from my comment section. I dropped a spray bottle in my bathroom, heard it hit the floor, have not been able to find it in the last 4 months. No clue where it went. I've lost a strand of spaghetti like that before, threw it against a wall to see if it was done, it slid off the wall, there was nowhere for it to go, poof, gone. Mac and cheese and the pot. We searched everywhere. The only proof we made mac and cheese was the box in the trash. The pot with mac and cheese was just gone. My daughter swears she was having a food fight with her brother, tossed a tortilla, and it went through the wall and vanished. They searched for days, it was gone. We got back from dinner the other night. I sat my phone on the bed, went to the bathroom, came back, and my phone was gone. We called it 6 times, searched for 2 hours. The next morning, my mill called to tell us she found my phone in the pocket on the back of her passenger seat. I sat behind the driver, and we both remember me putting my phone on the bed. When we walked in, I was on the phone with my sister when we got home. Still can't explain it. I was delivering an oxygen sensor to a shop once. I put it in the passenger seat, and when I got there, I looked over and it was gone. All my coworkers looked everywhere for it, but it has evaporated into nothing apparently. Used to live in an older house, we received a check from my mill and then couldn't find it for days. Then one day, it was just sitting in the middle of the kitchen counter. My husband tore his truck apart looking for a tool. Couldn't find it anywhere. Next time he opened the truck door, it was laying in the seat. We had a toy dinosaur made from Legos. Dropped it at my feet, bent down to pick it up, and gone! My husband, myself, and our 2 kids moved all the furniture in the room, couldn't find it at all. And at number 10, one time my wife bought a pumpkin carving kit. We brought it home, brought it upstairs, and specifically put it in a spot we'd remember so we could easily come back to it and use it like the next day when we got a pumpkin. Well, not long after placing it in the spot, when we came back for it, it was gone. Days went by and we looked everywhere. One day, someone opened a kitchen cabinet and boom, there was a pumpkin carving kit. But it wasn't even the one we bought, and no one has come forward about the one found. No one bought it. So we lost one, but gained one that wasn't as good as the one we bought. What is happening? Oh, I'll tell you what it is. It's either fairies, gnomes, or interdimensional beings, or we're all just going crazy.
The mac and cheese just disappearing with the whole pot was my favorite story from this video, because where did it go? Why did it run away?
Top 10 glitches in the Matrix from my comment section, part 3. And if you like super creepy paranormal ghost stuff, make sure to stick around for number 10, because then you won't be able to sleep at night. Lost a pair of diamond earrings while living in Hawaii. I spent weeks searching for them, gone. 2 years later, I found them on the bathroom counter in a new house in Washington State. One day, I plugged my phone in on the kitchen counter, left for less than 5 minutes, and my phone was gone when I came back. Searched for hours only for it to reappear on the counter completely dead. I was also home alone the entire time. I rechecked the kitchen multiple times, and it definitely wasn't there until it was. I had my purse stolen. I lost some extremely sentimental things and important things. Over the next 2 years, every single thing that was inside that purse, I found in various places and times. I was tossing and catching a pair of socks in my hand, barely high enough to leave my field of vision. On the third toss, it just didn't come back down. I was in a hallway with nowhere for it to go. I searched our tiny apartment for days and never found it. Can't comprehend how it could have left the narrow hall that had no crevices or anywhere for it to go. I dropped a shirt on the floor in my bedroom and went to pick it up, but it was gone. I tore through my whole apartment looking for it. Nothing. Went back to my room after going out, and the shirt was neatly folded and laying on my pillow. Me and my sibling were playing with our stuffed animals. They had a purple stuffed Pegasus and I had a pink stuffed unicorn. At one point, the Pegasus was thrown into the closet. We saw it land in the closet, but when we went to retrieve it, it was gone. Looked for it for days with no luck. Same thing happened to a purple blanket my sibling owned. Chalked it up to purple stealing fairies that live in our closet. I left my wallet on the roof of my car at the gas station. I drove off and it flew off the car. I couldn't find it for a couple of months. I ended up finding it just sitting inside my dresser drawer. I've had multiple instances of things appearing in my house. Once a bright green dress we didn't own, and another time a pile of coins materialized on my bed, and when I came back, they had rearranged. I had a bracelet my uncle had made for me, never took it off until one day I was typing and it was bothering me. I took it off and set it on the desk next to my laptop. It went missing for 2 years. Then one day, my toddler was playing in my new apartment in the middle of the living room. Nothing was around him. He was playing with my missing bracelet. No idea how it got there from the old place. No idea how he found it. It was so bizarre. And at number 10. One time, me and my girlfriend at the time were watching a movie in the basement of my family's house. We have a little theater area with the seats and everything. Well, I went upstairs to get something from the kitchen, and when I came back down, I saw her quickly crouch behind one of the chairs, so I was like, hey, I saw you get behind the chair. I'm not stupid. You're not scaring me. Then she walked out of the bathroom from a completely different room. I checked behind the chair and nothing was there. We were pretty freaked out. For the person that wrote number 10, come here. Move out.
The one where someone says that their purse was stolen and then they found over the next 2 years like everything that had ever been in that purse kind of reminded me of the TikTok we talked about earlier of people saying that they're finding like family heirlooms in their wallet and stuff in parking lots they've never visited before. All right, you guys, that was 23 glitch in the matrix TikToks from the scary side of TikTok. It is currently 3 in the morning as I'm finishing filming this because my camera battery died earlier. So mom is gonna go get some sleep. I'm seeing Beetlejuice tomorrow and I'm very excited, but we're watching it at like 10 in the morning, so I have to be ready at like 9. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me, you guys. If you did enjoy, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. A special thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only polls to help me decide on future video topics, videos and updates and so much more, click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. An extra special thank you to my VIP loves for their continued and generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.